The longest content ever. Hello. Welcome to this episode of Profitable Impact Show. I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about the side effects of public speaking. And we promised 3, but I have a feeling we're going to give you more of them because there's so many. But first, let us introduce ourselves. If you have never met us before, I am Kim, and we are the mentors behind Profitable Impact Academy. We are passionate about helping business owners and entrepreneurs create more impact, more profits, more influence in their business by harnessing and leveraging the power of persuasive public speaking. So I have to say this show was actually inspired because Kat and I got together for breakfast on the weekend, just a fun one, not a business planning one. And we were talking about how what we do is so much more than just public speaking. Public speaking doesn't really harness the power of what we talk about when we say those 2 words. And so that was really kind of what influenced us to do this live. But before we jump in, I just want to say, if you catch this later on the replay, drop us a hashtag replay so that we know you were here. If you're here live, drop us a hey, hello, so that we know you're here with us. And tag anyone that you think might need to hear this information that we share today, because we know there are so many people out there that are kind of thinking about or toying with the idea of public speaking, and they really kind of just let their fear block them stepping into their message and their purpose and creating more influence in the world. So welcome to this week's show. So Kat, I don't know, what do you think? I just threw down a bunch of stuff. While you're talking, I'm going to check and make sure we're streaming properly. Oh, good call. Here we go. Let's get you up there. Too funny. Everyone, say hello,
Coach. Hi, everybody.
Mental note to self: make sure Kat's on the screen.
That's awesome.
I'm just taking over the show. That's all.
Well, when we were sitting and having this brunch and talking about public speaking, I know we have the most genius conversations, especially when we eat food. Hello, who doesn't like food? And we just chatted about how my life changed since the moment that I started public speaking, my really first stage, to now. And really, it's not just my life, but it's really myself. I discovered so much about myself, and there's so many things that actually transpired from that really first stage, and being in front of people and being scared and having clammy hands and shaky voice and hiding myself. I remember all of those things. And I mean, even being on the stage in my ripped t-shirt from one of the free conferences, I've done that too, guilty. And just looking at, we call them side effects of public speaking, right? So everything that transpired right from the moment that we stepped on stage. And I know for you, it was the same, where the moment you started public speaking, there's so many things that happened for you in your life, in your business, for yourself. And the first one is growing the confidence. So tremendously growing the confidence. And I'm not just saying confidence in the sense of being confident, but confidence in your business, confidence in your products and your services, confidence in what you're saying, because that's a big thing too. We have so many people that come to us for coaching, and when we ask them that one question, if they actually believe in their services, if they believe that their services or product will help their clients, they hesitate. They really do. And I think that comes from the lack of clarity, and maybe they're just starting in business. That somehow happens too, right? Is when you're starting in business, you just don't know yet. But public speaking really helps with clarifying your message, clarifying how to explain your product in the way that people actually lean in, and people want to hear about it, and people want to get to know you and get to know what you can do for them, right? Versus just talking at the audience. And for me, myself, I never used to, I know I'm confident AF now, but but I never used to be like that. Honestly, I was a really shy kid when I was little, and through my teenage years, it got even worse. Really shy, quiet, to myself. I did not like being in the spotlight at all, at all. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me. I was happy to be that kid in the back in the corner somewhere in the shadows that, would just watch. I would people watch all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, it did not support me when it came to my business. Because the worst thing you can do when you come to a networking event is stay in the shadow and be a wallflower, right? The worst thing you can do for your business is not speak up, not share your message, not talk about what you can do for others, not create impact, right? I mean, I know that our listeners, I know that people who are watching us right now, you're in your business because you got a big mission, not just because you want to sell your products and services. And you know what? With the big mission comes big responsibilities. And having confidence in that mission, having confidence to stand on stage and share your message is crucial. It's crucial for people to actually follow you, lean in, want it just as much as you want it for them. And so I think confidence changed so much since that really first stage to now, where I can confidently say that I love what I do. It's already creating the impact, ripples of impact. It's tremendous value. And I know that. Mm-hmm. And so I can charge more.
Yes.
Because I know people are going to make more. People are going to become more. People are going to create more impact. And so I can confidently stand behind my product, my services, my message, my prices, and actually share it with others and know that it will change lives. So I want that for you too. And that's why, like, a side effect of speaking is confidence.
Yeah.
It's really every time you speak up, every time you speak out, you're going to get more confident, even if it's just a little, but it's going to adapt over the years.
Yes, it's so true. Like, absolutely. Like, number one is the confidence. And I've seen it. And it's interesting because outside of what we do, I've also been an instructor in a program where people come in and they're so afraid of public speaking. They won't even, not even just public speaking, but like if you've ever met a person who struggled even just making eye contact in a one-to-one conversation. And I've seen people go through a program where they couldn't look up from the floor when they were speaking on the first day to confidently standing at the front of the room and doing a 5-minute presentation. Mm-hmm. And it's in the conquering of the fear that your confidence grows. You create proof for your brain that you're capable of doing these things. And I know for me, if I look over the last 2 years of my journey as speaking as an entrepreneur, it's been the scariest experiences that have given me the biggest leap in my confidence. It's crazy. Like I remember at one event where my heart was beating so hard. I thought like the people around me could probably hear it. Like I was leaning against the table waiting to go on stage and it felt like I was probably moving the table. And it was literally probably the only time I haven't been able to control since I've done the training and worked on the skill of public speaking that I wasn't able to control my fear because it was just such an unusual circumstance I was in. But I did it and I conquered it and I captured the audience's attention and it created the proof for my brain that I'm capable of doing something in that type of scenario. And so it's interesting because you do that. And when you get that level of confidence, it starts to bleed over into all the other things that you do. It allows you to confidently talk about how you help people or what your mission is or the transformation that you help other people have. And it's interesting because when you establish yourself as an expert on a stage, you get immediate feedback from the audience members if you've helped them have a transformation right there on the spot or have a shift in their belief system or have a new perspective about their own story, because they will be waiting for you after the event and they want to talk to you and they want to tell you how what you said connected with them. And so it's one of the situations in life, especially as an entrepreneur, where you get immediate feedback from people that tell you like, wow, like that really connected, or here's what I really loved. And it's such a cool experience. And I really one of my just passions is helping everyone else embrace public speaking, because it really is. It's a skill that will help you so much in your business. And it's interesting because I was reading an article the other day that Warren Buffett has said it's the one thing that everyone should do, that you increase your earning potential by 50% just by mastering the art of public speaking. And yet it's the one thing so many people will avoid at all costs just because of their fear, not understanding that the practice helps you control the fear and it grows your confidence. So you get to a point where it's actually, I'm not saying I never feel afraid anymore, but it's pretty easy for me to control and manage the fear now so that I don't have the really crazy, moments of my heart beating insanely anymore.
I'm actually curious, for those of you who are watching us, or if you're watching a replay, drop us A or B. A is if you're scared shitless to be on stage, and B if you are super comfortable on stage. I just want to know who is scared of being on stage, A, or who is totally comfortable being on stage, B. I tell you, I think I can kind of predict on how this is going to look like, but I want to hear from you. So drop us A if you're scared to be on stage, and B if you're comfortable.
Yes. Yeah, there was a time when I was absolutely terrified. I actually, just before we jumped on here, I'm working on a post for Instagram and I'm talking about it. And it was actually what motivated me to start like investing in myself and learning the skill of public speaking. I wasn't born a confident speaker. But it was because I was having to give these presentations to executives in my corporate job and like doing these big meetings where store managers would come through and hear about product assortments. And that was what motivated. And I remember when I took my very first public speaking class, all my coworkers were like, why would you do that? Why? Like, why do you want to do that? I'm like, well, because I don't want to continue feeling fearful when I have to do these presentations. I want to know how can I control the emotions I'm feeling so that I don't, stay awake all night the night before and feel like nauseous and like I'm going to throw up like for the 5 minutes before I walk into the meeting, and just be able to confidently present the information I have to present. But I do have to say there's a huge difference between presenting for a job and speaking as an entrepreneur, because my purpose is like creating transformation for the people that are there to hear me speak. Not only that, but like inspiring and motivating, and then helping them understand what are the next steps in their journey if they're meant to work with me or with us, right? And that's very different than the presentations that you do in a workplace. But the skills transfer over into both. There's a real art to speaking as an entrepreneur, I have to say. And that's one of the things I love teaching other people, because when I first started speaking, I remember I actually spoke at one of your events, Kat, and I was like, this is the thing. This is the one thing I'm going to do. It's going to make me so much money. And I was just lacking so much knowledge about how do you persuade someone to know what the next step is to work with you. I just thought people are going to line up at the back of the room because they love me so much, and they're going to like have their credit card like waving in the air. And that's not what happened at all. They weren't like standing in the back. They were like, la, 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 la. People were like, oh, that was really inspiring, or I really enjoyed your story. But I was missing the steps to help them know how they could work with me, and how the transformation that they could experience by working with me, and instead of staying stuck where they were, right? So Sherry says she's between A and B. Oh, love it. That's actually what I was going to say, is because I was like, I feel like anyone that's been to one of our events is going to be in the middle.
Entrepreneurs, they always find option C, or in this case, option 8.2.
Yeah, way to think outside the box, Sherry. I love it. Yes. Awesome. And that's the cool thing is, you just, as you continue, Kat and I have talked quite a bit. Like, I think even for both of us, we've grown as we've invested and worked with mentors specifically on putting together really amazing 3-day events. We've both changed and grown as speakers and as storytellers. And your story does, it changes it and it evolves the more you share it. And the more you get that nonverbal feedback from your audience, where they lean in at a particular moment. And then, like, okay, that's where I need to focus. And when they look bored for certain parts, and okay, that's what I'm going to cut out. I don't need to share that part of the story. And your story and your message will take a real evolution over time, but that comes with like practice and just putting yourself out there over and over again.
Yes. So let's cover again the 3 side effects, right? Because I know we get so passionate.
We got so excited in this one. I know.
The number 1, and we covered it in detail, is first side effects is really confidence. So becoming more confident in yourself, your products, your services, your business, your life. And that's a huge side effect of public speaking. Number 2 is believing in yourself and your expertise. And I'm gonna say this is this has been such a huge transformation, right? This has been such a huge difference in believing in myself and what I can create. In fact, Kim has something that she calls a brag book, right? It's when people send us messages, or that sometimes they come to us and they tell us how we created change in their life, how they got inspired, or we encouraged them and they took the next step, right? How they did something and it changed everything. And really, we got so many messages from different people telling us how that one thing that we said created a ripple effect, a ripple effect of impact, right, in their lives. And so Kim started printing it and putting it in her book, right? So believing in yourself and your expertise is definitely another side effect of public speaking. And number 3 is creating transformation, creating the new point of view, creating new beliefs for your audience, for people in the room. And Kim mentions it a lot too, when there's always going to be at least one person in the room that you're going to create transformation for. And if it's one person, it's worth it, right? Absolutely. So get out there, start speaking, make sure that you're getting on stage as much as possible. For our students, we always tell them to be the first one to lift a hand before they even know what's coming next. So sometimes that means volunteering for the things that are super uncomfortable. Yes. And that creates that ripples of impact, that creates the transformations in the room. So keep speaking, or start public speaking if you haven't yet. We're here to support you. Ask away the questions. If you have any specific questions about public speaking, drop them in comments. We're happy to do a whole show on just your questions. Yes. And yeah, just let us know, what is it that you want to learn?
Oh, hang on, let me see. I've never tried this before. I'm going to...
Thank you, Shay.
That's so kind of you. Thank you. Okay, awesome. Yes, and so I do want to say, if you have never been to our Profitable Speaker Bootcamp, it's coming up again next year, and keep an eye out for Black Friday. We can't let the cat out of the bag, but we came up with something we're really excited about. So keep an eye out on our page for a special announcement of something we're going to do for Black Friday. One of our really big things, I think, in the last kind of half year is creating things that really excite us in our business, instead of doing the things that we think we should do because we heard someone say that's what you should do as an entrepreneur. And so we're really kind of morphing and transforming and finding, like, what are the things that just excite us? And that's what we want to create in the world. And so Profitable Speaker Bootcamp is one of those things. And if you know that speaking is the next step, then you really want to check that out. But keep an eye out for Black Friday, because we're going to do a special offer for those of you that are ready to join us. So yes, and drop us some comments. And like I said, share this or tag someone if you know they need to hear this. There are just so many people out there staying silent. And it's sad, because when we speak up and share our voice, and you share your story, it creates, like we've said, these ripples of impact through people's lives. And that goes from them into their family members, into their community, into the world at large. And I think today is like World Kindness Day. Yes. And I think that's what we need more of, is people sharing their message and helping other people become enlightened and happier and unstuck. Because I hear that so much from people. I feel stuck. And so if you haven't yet shared your story, I want you to know there's one person out there that's just waiting, that they're going to have that aha that completely starts a shift for them. And so you need to just get out there and start sharing your message, because someone is just waiting for you. All week, ever since we had our breakfast, the message that just keeps coming through to me is, if you want to be prolific, you need to show up. So It's time to start showing up. You want to create change and impact in the world, you need to show up. So start showing up. Stop being the world's best kept secret.
Absolutely. So join us same time next week for our next episode of Profitable Impact Weekly. Yeah. My tongue is twisted now. Have a fantastic week. Share some kindness, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.